Awesome. All right. Thank you, Moonlight, for having me. It is 7:30-ish in Nashville, Tennessee. So Central Time, Chicago for the time. Well, I'm excited. Geeq is originally started by my co-founder, John Conley at Vanderbilt University, which is in Nashville. Nashville is a growing tech hub. It's really much more than music, although we do call it Music City and more. And so finance is moving here. Healthcare has always been here. Publishing, entertainment, of course. We have our national treasure of Tennessee, Dolly Parton, and Taylor Swift is sometimes in town. So those people are all much more famous than Geeq. Geeq is a real fundamental blockchain project, but we are trying to get on the map and someday, be as well known in Nashville as and across the world as everyone else.
Is muted at the other platform. Yeah, talking about Vanderbilt. Wow, I think my family probably passed by that university when I was little and we had a road trip. And just like you say, right, Nashville is actually more than just music, and technology is certainly very, very important. It's a tech hub, especially with the famous and very top university Vanderbilt over there. Wow. Awesome. And glad to know that the team behind Geeq has a strong background. And since we are talking about the team, do you mind to letting us know more about other team members who are the core funding team members behind Geeq? Thank you.
Absolutely. We are not only really blessed to have our founder, John Conley at Vanderbilt, who is the brains behind the protocol. He is a very rigorous guy who started Geeq, thinking about Geeq while he was at Microsoft Research and started looking at blockchain security there. We have our chief architect, Lan Yuan, who is in Palo Alto, California. He was the principal software engineer. You might have heard Intuit when Intuit was starting out, and Len oversaw QuickBooks International, a few other startups. He likes the startup life, and he is really bringing decentralized technology in a very systematic way to help us all as centralized systems become dangerous to our data. And the third co-founder is Rick Asselstein. He is based in Canada, in Waterloo, where, they're famous for Ethereum's beginning. Rick is a serial entrepreneur, and he got together with blockchain. He was thinking about it for IoT. There's a technology corridor in Canada near Waterloo. And the question is, how are we going to put data on blockchain that we can think about without trust, but somehow synchronize it so we can all look together?
That is very good. And I'm so glad that when you introduce the core funding team members of Geeq, that it seems like they're all dogs, right, in the real world. So we all know who the people are, and you're also not afraid of sharing the locations of the team members, because a lot of Web3 projects are kind of like hiding behind the scene, right? And really we just see the shadows, but we don't know who they really are. So when we wanted to talk about putting data on the blockchain, and whose data are those belongs to the users or from the projects, who do Geeq mainly collaborating with, and how could everyday user, a ordinary Web3er just like me, right, and normally how could we utilize the tech that you provide and that you are building in Web3?
That is such a great question, because we are doing it differently. The kinds of users that we've been talking to a lot lately have been enterprise. The enterprise is still on the fence, because they're wanting the efficiencies of blockchain. They were sold so many stories about blockchain, but they, it's expensive sometimes, and it's just costly to get humans to change their habits. So we have been talking to them about how best to ease people into blockchain and really make it invisible in some sense. So the blockchain people, the blockchain community, we talk about all the back end all the time. We know all the use cases, you and I, but really the technology has to just work seamlessly. It has to be secure enough, not only for enterprise, but I think for everyone. So I think we have a winning approach in the sense that Geeq is data agnostic. And what that means is we see payments as a form of data. The computer doesn't care whether you're sending payments, or if you're sending IoT, or if you're sending, love letters. the songs that you've written, it's to us, we just need to make sure it's secure. We need to make sure it's validated. We need to make sure it's useful. And that's what we bring, this sort of universal view in some sense. I'd love to talk more, but I want to let you have a chance to talk too.
Thank you so much, because this is certainly I would say a very high-tech conversation, right? And let's try to use a more like simpler terms so our audience can understand, because so far I see we got hundreds of audience on each of our platforms. So that we certainly wanted to let everyone to all understand the project Geeq, right? And then be able to be part of it. So I see the intro of Geeq saying that secure layer 0 multi-chain platform. So how many deploy your tech on, and also which type of projects that you primarily collaborating with? Thank you.
We have had private chains up for over a year. We collaborated. We're in the US, so we used Amazon Web Services and still do our development to host chains. We collaborated with Morpheus Labs in Singapore to make sure that we could do it in Huawei Cloud. We are working closely. I really believe in Morpheus Network, so shout out to them in supply chain, because they are also thinking globally and also thinking about real world cases where they need to secure data but synchronize it in across supply chain pieces. So those are partners I can talk about. And we, of course, have a huge commitment to our community. So we want to bring them NFTs that are that where they don't have to worry about their assets, whatever they are, and they feel protected.
That is very interesting because, talking about NFTs, how could NFTs protecting us? Because right now, when I surf online, especially on Twitter, or if I'm going to go to mint something, right, a new project, I always install other tools, right, to add-ons, right, to help me to detect any potential virus, right, and if it's dangerous,
right,
or if the smart contract is quite weird that being detected, I definitely will reject it, right? So, and how does Geeq and also protecting the users? Thank you.
It's a wonderful question, and the simple answer is that Geeq is a no smart contract platform. We don't have any malicious code in our NFTs. We don't have code in our NFTs. It is data. So we're taking a least click approach, bringing sort of the what you see is what you get approach to using and minting and transferring data on chain, where all the NFTs are for the user is you put what you want in, hash your file. It could be real world, very valuable, and it goes into the blockchain, and the NFT data is preserved. You know that it's there because there's proof that the data is there. You can send it to someone else who knows it's there because there's proof. So to answer your question, no smart contracts. We're leaving that to other chains.
That is, a lot of, very interesting concept that I have been learning over here because, number one, right, an MT could kind of like a data storage on the chain. It is also shareable. So I wonder, there are so many MT traders or the so-called JPEG buyers, right? If a person sold his or her Geeq NFTs, does that mean he also sell his data to someone else, or it would not happen?
Not necessarily, no. And just like any other public blockchain, everything is controlled by your key. So we preserve pseudo anonymity. I guess the difference is that we've built in a variety of ways that you can share data. You can share data with just your key as the account. You can share data in a more public-private setting. For example, maybe you want to share an NFT that represents a carbon credit. And in that case, you want to get credit for your carbon credit, right? So a company could say, this is my public key, and send it to the regulator. But it's always the user's choice whether or not they want to, dox themselves.
That is really interesting. Is the product already there, or are you developing it? And what is the timeline? Thank you.
The product is developed. It's gone through a few iterations. For example, we started with NFTs, proof of concept to us because we needed to make sure it worked. And we had only 5 metadata sets. Here, do you mind if I share?
Of course. Yeah, please. That is definitely very helpful.
Okay, so first we started with just thinking about data, not as NFTs, but really in an app setting. So I don't know if your viewers can view this, but I'm just going to go through, hash it.
So I see that we are step 3 now.
Yeah. And let's say AMA. And oops, I should have.
Is this going to change our data storage habit forever? AMA Moonlight, cool.
Moonlight. I think data storage is, again, something that people need to figure out for themselves. They don't have to put too much data on chain. They could put a lot of data on chain, but let's just look at this. Here it is. It's valid. And if we go back to think about how users really want to have their data, they want to have it standardized and searchable, right? So most users won't understand this part at all. They want to know that it's on chain. So guess what I did before I got on? I said, let's put Moonlight in the spotlight. Here's the information I had before.
Right.
AMA with Moonlight, legendary Ultiverse DAO, topics with layer 0 security. Right. So when you saw that form, we had 5 different fields that an app developer could prompt. Does that make sense?
Right. And I actually think that if the data is secured, I'm thinking right now in Web3, because everything's on chain and also require like private keys, etc., right, in order to access to each of the wallet address or the account, right? So if accidents happens, right, to someone, then the assets that the person had when the person was alive were kind of like still there on chain, but their family members would not find out how to retrieve them, or maybe like don't even know there are some fortunes still on chain, right, for them to have to be able to use, right? And so I think these might be a kind of like a, should I say, a secret spot, right, for us to keep our like our seed phrases or private keys. Is it possible for us to do it? What do you think?
I think that passing on assets is a really important problem to do securely. Here's my take on that. Let's go into the future a little bit. So let's say that somebody does know that you have an incredible collection of NFTs, and we don't show it here, but that when you sent it, you had a private key associated with all of those. What we can do at Geeq is set up, I'll say it slowly. I'm excited. I'll say it slowly. A no smart contract, atomic swap. And what that means is that it can check 2 conditions without needing a smart contract, and then release whatever it is that you've put on one side. Say it's an escrow. When it checks the chain and the second person puts in the right information. So perhaps what you do is, and we haven't tested this out, honestly. We haven't considered whether someone dies yet. We're thinking about a more finite time. But I can imagine it extending to the point where you give your loved one some kind of NFT and say, look, these are on chain. Moonlight's collection is on chain, and somebody else has an NFT, and you've put them in an atomic swap. And there will be times when there is a condition where all they have to do, you issue an NFT to the other person, and you know that's the right one to look for. All they have to do is submit that. So there are ways and conditions to do this generically, which make it easier for users. I should end on that. So there's another way that we work at Geeq, because we really are thinking about this. If you're taking care of your family members and you're a trustee for someone, I don't know if everybody uses the same words, but let's say I'm paying bills for my parent, and the assets are on chain, and I don't trust the person taking care of my parent to pay the bills because they would have the private key. What I can do is I can set transactions so they are only payable to the nursing home. And that's another way that we mimic real life without smart contracts. Just say, let's certify that this payment must go to this particular account. And we can do that with NFTs.
Okay. Wow. This is definitely, very great to know the information as well. And do you mind to letting us know how about more details about this upcoming MT collection? Because so far we know it's streaming, right? How about total amount, and also on which chain, and how could people be whitelist, and the main schedule, as well as how do people use it? Thank you.
Yes, free NFT mint. We are doing it on EVM compatible chain. When we started thinking about this campaign, some chains were having some problems, so we haven't committed to a chain yet. But there will be 2,000. There are various ways to get on a whitelist, and those are in our Discord. We have on our, let me show you, our Geeq official Twitter. And if you go up to the link tree, we now just started our Discord server. We have Twitter, we have Telegram. And these are ways to find out how to participate. Why do you participate? Because we want you to learn more about Geeq, and we are giving utilities away on with these NFTs. There will be different levels. But I'm going to stay quiet about what the utilities are yet. VIP utilities.
Oh, VIP utilities. But
yeah,
still cannot share with the public, right? It's kind of like going to be announced later.
Going to be announced later, and possibly, added to as we go. So I don't have the entire timeline mapped out yet.
Got it. That is, oh my. That is definitely a very great teaser. Thank you so much for letting us know about that. And friends, if you are watching us right now, we are interviewing Stephanie from Geeq, and this is definitely very unique project, because typically on our AMA sessions, right, we interview project team members from GameFi, SocialFi, right? The majority or NFT collections, right? But this is a streamlined technology that without smart contracts, and also layer zero. A lot of the new things for our audience, and also for me as well. And So, in simpler terms, how would you introduce your project to someone from Web2, like without any blockchain or tech knowledge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that I would say is that our data has developed in this revolution where everyone has talked about data as the new oil for over 20 years. And that is the way the .com revolution began. Our software, cloud has developed and is still trying to customize to different needs. And we all know that the data has gone into centralized software, centralized repositories. I don't have to tell your audience that.
Mm-hmm.
What I can say is that all of these systems are under attack. And so I'm actually very concerned about cybersecurity. So when I talk to Web2 people, many of whom don't really want to talk about it, but they know that there are viruses in their systems waiting, and that if someone gets into their system and takes it down, that is potentially the end of their business.
Right.
So it doesn't take as much now as it did a few years ago to say you're going to need another way to stay, to keep your critical data safe. And what Geeq brings is not only protection for you as your users to continue operations, because we have decentralized networks, right? I can tell your audience that. And you can talk to the blockchain with just contacting a node, not using smart contracts. You don't have to prepare very much because it's a new database. But it's a database that is able to be adopted as a wraparound. So seems to be the magic words for talking to Web2 enterprise is zero trust security.
Right.
And then you say, and blockchain's supposed to be trustless, right? It's a very natural thing. This is what we have been working on. This is what other blockchain platforms have not been able to achieve yet. They're still working on the trustlessness part. But we're there. And then for Web2 people, I take them through this app where we start with a web form and say, look, if it's this easy to put your data on chain, and we can support any app, you could do a poll, you could do e-commerce, and your data will go to a safe place. Your users, you can guarantee more privacy. This is going to be a thing that not only you need, but will keep trust with your users.
Wow.
So that's my pitch to different. It has to vary depending on the audience, but I think that what we do to bring security and protection is very powerful now.
Right. I see that one of the recent tweet posts about Geeq is that rule number one, protect the users, protect their assets and their data. Right? This is definitely very appealing to our Web3 users. But some people might still wonder, but how? Right? And this is certainly something that we are going to learn about, right? At least for me, right, the team has been building for a certain time, right? But for me, it's a new narrative, right? That we could, we don't have to download an app, or we don't have to download an add-on, right, on our browsers, and then could just protect our data. This is certainly something new, right? And
Mhm.
do you mind to letting us know about what projects has Geek already collab with, and what type of collaboration is that, or maybe any product that you would like to also talk about? Thank you.
Let me just finish filling out this form so we can see this again.
Oh, that would be cool.
And oh, I forgot to sign and send. So the thing I'd like to address the difference. Oh, search the blockchain. So we're on the Explorer. Now, what did I say? I said store it wherever you want.
There's a Geek Explorer. Cool.
Yeah.
So do we
go ahead,
just
please.
Sorry, do we just register an account that we could access all the data, or do we use our NFT, or do we connect our wallet in order to access the data? And which type of wallet? EVM compatible?
Right now, Geek is in ERC20. When we do mainnet, pure public testnet, it will have to have its own wallet. We would love to integrate with other wallets. The encryption that we're using is slightly advanced, so they have to be able to support our encryption, because we're all about security. But we will have our wallet, and in the meantime, people can. Geek is in ERC20, and the free NFT drop will allow people to come on and test things out. So the free NFT drop will be associated with a Geek wallet in prototype.
Interesting. And I also see that over here, something really important is to scale it, right? Scalability. How do you let more people know about your product that the Geek team has been building, and also how do you encourage them to use it? Because someone needs to have certain tech knowledge, right? Like, or basic understanding, right, to use it. So how do you make it like a larger project? How to grow your project? Thank you.
Yes. So there are so many applications once you think about no smart contracts and how easy it is to use, that what we're doing as a marketing educational activity is we are tackling one area at a time to show our users what could be done. So in this case, again, I mentioned Morpheus Network. We're thinking about supply chain. This is just one app display. So you pull the data out of the blockchain, and here is the human part, which we all need. And this particular display puts all the computer readable part here. And we can have an NFT that represents some unique physical crop in this case.
Interesting. And I see that previously we store text messages right over there. Is it possible to also upload videos or upload pictures and other PDF file or Word document, everything? Because it's kind of like a new way to store our stuff, right? Interesting.
Yes, absolutely. You can what we want to do, and I really should say this, is Geek is a layer 0 to provide chains for apps. So that means that anyone can write an app and use an API call to a blockchain instead of an API call to whatever APIs call, all the various things that APIs call right now. But it's so simple. So it's up to the app developer how they want to use NFTs, and we're going to go one vertical at a time, in this case, to show you can get provenance.
Mhm.
In this case, the NFT was a crop. It was issued by the farmer. It was transacted on chain. Then it was sent to the next person. So we have very detailed information about provenance. You can imagine that in fashion. You can imagine that in sustainable goods. You can imagine that for your NFTs that you know very well already. And you can imagine enterprises tracking that within their enterprise for very valuable real world assets, right? Where you need to know that this particular asset has gone from one place to another and perhaps shared with a regulator. So what I'm saying is it's up to the app writer and the app user to say, how do I use this new technology? Well, you decide on the data. And we are going to intrude as little as possible. It's a lightweight solution that does the same thing with your data. So it's always standardized. You always get all this, and you can always enter what you want. Does that help a little bit? So
yes. And how about, well, for example, I'm thinking now, like, is it kind of like, could we say it's a Google storage in Web3, Google Drive in Web3?
Google could use us if they wanted to commit to more privacy and getting people to sign a private key when they send their data. We can scale to any size because we're multi-chain. So we provide chains, as many as you need for an app. And I think what you might be hinting at is what kinds of partners would we like? One of the verticals we want to tackle is gaming.
Why?
Gaming and metaverse, because this is so versatile. It is a way to set up secure infrastructure for the entire next generation of user-defined transactions, assets. So this could be a game username. It could be the gamer company. It could be, I'm really listed on some kind of marketplace, right? All of this is, I earned this NFT because I reached level, and I can't remember, my son plays a game and they have different levels, Harold. And there it is, it's in the record. And if that NFT carries utilities, for example, everybody can check it. There you go.
Nice. And for each account, what's the limit of the storage? Like, for example, every year I actually have to pay like $100, right, in order to receive 2 T of a storage, in the cloud. And is there any limitations in terms of how much data that we could store on Geeq's platform?
That's a great. You are showing so much knowledge. So I want to go back because I think, here we go. So one of the reasons that gaming is such a great use case is because so much of what they do, they want to store themselves, right? Because they have their digital assets and their graphics property. So they could store all of that information in an internal database, a proprietary database on IPFS. So let me just say that storing is a choice. You could also store, if you wanted to, we have 255 metadata fields and you could fill those up. And we have a very beautiful way of breaking down transactions versus the actual data that needs to be stored somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go through a transaction, the payload, which this is the description of your NFT, goes to another chain where this is block 1 and this is also block 1. So maybe I'll just finish up this technical explanation. So these things are written at the same time. This one's really light. It's just saying, I'm creating an NFT. Moonlight's creating an NFT, and where is it? It's going to be referenced here. If you put all your 255 metadata, then okay, this block will get really big, but it's not limited. So you will have to pay rent. But if you just say, here's a pointer to a gaming database, then this part is validated on chain and the storage goes somewhere else. And you, does that make sense? It's the beginning of a new way of being able to point your on-chain transactions to the cheapest storage you can find or the most private storage you want. We're all on chain, but it doesn't gum up the works. We won't get congestion in the sense that, I can't remember where it is anymore, in the sense that this blockchain is the one that processes the data. What? Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know if you heard.
Honestly, you feel free to just play the whole video because it's also quite short.
Yes, okay, sure. Let's start at the beginning. This is
Very cool. Simple, secure, and scalable. Geeq data. Nice.
And the same will be coming out soon with Geeq NFTs.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us today with a session that with lots and lots of information. Especially, this is certainly quite new for me. I am not a techie, right? I want to be a geek. Growing up, a lot of people would say that, we Asian people are more geeky, right? Geekier than others, right? Because I prefer to learn new things, especially about tech knowledge. And that's why I'm owning Web3 now. And
yes,
so glad to have you over here today, Stephanie.
Thank you, Moonlight. I think all the work that we do to expand our minds should translate into something simple. If you can get it down to simple and secure and robust to attacks. I'm very worried about attacks again. And we need to find a way to exist and transact and get our systems in shape so they're not all sitting around as honeypots. So I'm with you. Learn as much as you can and then make it easy so that we don't all have to be going through this anymore.
Right. Yeah. Every day we're seeing a lot of people lost their assets, right? Because Web3 still is a very, should we say, a big dark black forest Right, that's so
Yes,
many,
right.
yeah, so many traps are hidden there, and always need to let our audience know, like, don't click on certain links and don't click on that link. Yeah, just try not to click on anything. So yeah, if there's really a very simple solution that could help us to protect our data and our assets, that is certainly perfect. Thank you so much once again, Stephanie, for spending time with us. And I know it's just around 8:20 after time zone, right, in Nashville, Tennessee. So wish you a great rest of the day. The replay will be available both on Twitter and our banner site in probably a few weeks. So I'm also going to edit another version to put it on YouTube as well. So stay tuned and let's keep in touch.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you so much. I'm energized, and I really appreciate getting to speak with you this morning.
Thank you. Take care and let's keep in touch. Yeah, we already follow each other on Twitter. So always, if you wanted to know more different Web3 gaming projects I to collaborate with, yeah, feel free to reach out to me, because I'm here every day basically interviewing a bunch of gaming projects. So yeah, when you see, hey, certain NFT, certain AMA sessions, right? Those project things that you wanted to also get in touch with, then to see if there are any ways to collaborate with, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye, you too. Thank
Bye.
you. Wow, this is amazing. I feel like I learned a lot today, and from the beginning, right, all the way up and learning something new. Layer 0. This is certainly a spot that I really know nothing about, right? And also, no smart contract is another very interesting new term for me, right? So I feel like, wow, this is kind of like a blockchain tech class, right? For me, and just so glad that in the early morning on a Friday that I am able to learn a bunch of knowledge from this team Geeq and Geek Data. Okay, pretty cool. Store your data and assets and protect us. Nice. I wish I could use the product as soon as possible. Okay, we see friends from, I believe this is from Brazil, because I see Bom dia, right? When people say Bom dia, like last time we had audience from Brazil, right? Satoriox, where are you from? Bom dia. GM, good morning. Oh, what is the flag? Is that Argentina? Teach me, what is the flag? Okay. Because they are like, is that about 180 something? Ah, okay. Yeah, Satorix is from Brazil. Awesome. I guess it right. But also see other flags. Friends, feel free to let me know where you're from, because I remember in the past we did a quick survey, right, for our audience. So we found out that we had audience from over 60 countries, 60 different countries in one session. That is just amazing. Cool. And we definitely welcome everyone from over the world speaking different languages. Oh yeah, next I should remember to show inscription. We also have friends from Uganda. Hello, friends from Uganda. How do we say hi for people from Uganda? And a lot of the flags I need to guess. I guess this one's from, do I see one from India? And maybe Bangladesh? I'm not sure. Teach me. Okay. We got Binance user 67367 from Uganda. Nice. Cool. So lots of audience today joining us. Thank you so much for all of you for spending your precious time with us and to learn a lot about today's Web3 project spotlight, Geeq or Geek Data. Okay, dokie, we are going to play our ending video and then we're going to continue. And to our next session. I have my next session in, guess what, 30 minutes. So I'm going to see you all again pretty soon. So I change another clothes. Otherwise everyone's like, oh Moonlight, you're wearing the same clothes from yesterday to today. Oh my goodness, in all the sessions. Okay, I'm going to change now. And see you in 30 minutes. Bye. Oh, our ending video. Should play it now. Let's do it.